Hello and welcome to London Business School's MBA TV. I'm Tamsin Shillito. Today we're going to be looking at what I think is one of the most exciting and prominent student clubs on campus. With around 400 student members, the London Business School Media Club brings together firms from television, radio, film, music, marketing, publishing and new media, together with students who have a background or interest in these fields. The annual London Media Summit is their flagship event. My colleague Victoria went along to find out more.
Thanks, Tamsin. The subject of this year's summit is the great debate, how can old media survive? The Media Club have secured a really high-profile list of keynote speakers and panel members, all of whom have come to London Business School today to thrash out this hot topic. The day-long summit has been organised entirely by London Business School students and has attracted over 200 industry professionals. To find out more, I came along today to speak to some members of the Media Club and also some of the keynote speakers.
We just launched Nickelodeon in Africa.
I'm here at the Media Summit because I was kindly invited. It's a privilege and honor for me, really, because I've been following the school for some time, and it's really grown into one of the, best institutions in the world, which is great. Very international, which comes partly by being here in London. And, just a great location and sort of, in the middle of things, and has had great leadership over the years. But most importantly, it's drawn some fantastic students who, in the media world anyway, I look to be as the future media moguls of the world. Television can be a tremendous force for good, but it can also be a force for not so good. So I think it's a mixed record around the world. But I think generally speaking, media tends to draw some really talented people. And I see it everywhere in all countries around the world. And I think, therefore, that media is fairly well run. It can always be better, but it needs younger people. It needs more leadership, and it needs a new set of thinking, which will happen generally because media does tend to attract very good people. London Business School students are international, which is so important in this day and age because we live in a globalized world. And to have a melting pot, really, a school like London Business School made up of people from all around the world is really, really important. And being here in London, the most cosmopolitan city in the world, I think helps a lot too. So I'm very impressed with the students from London Business School. London has really grown to be the center, the global capital of the world. So I think it's very well placed for media. But I think ultimately, as a media leader, you got to look at all different parts of the world, not just London. And you don't necessarily have to come from that respective country, but you have to think in a globalized world. We're in a much more multipolar world. It's not just dominated by one or two or three countries. It's many, many different sources of cool, sources of influence. So I think a student and a future leader from media coming from London, yes, we're in a great spot here by being in this globalized capital of the world, but you also need to think as a media leader all around the world and not hesitate to move around the world. It's about embracing new media, and it's about not being afraid of it, but actually using it to improve your business, deepen and strengthen your relationships with the audience, and looking at a whole new way of content. For example, what we do is our creative teams now look at not just the television, they look at the small screen, they look at multiple screens, and the content can actually be a much more enriching experience as a result of all the different screens. And likewise, there's unlimited opportunity for other business streams, but it has to be done in an innovative way, and again, not being fearful of it, but embrace it.
I chose to come to this conference because I thought the London Business School were putting together an event that actually had a lot of content to it. My role was to participate in a panel that was on the future of music labels. We spent quite a bit of time talking about it, and I think the agreement is that music, certainly as a business, is going to continue to be very lucrative. The role of a music label is going to have to transform pretty radically in order to be able to reap the benefits that they've had in the past. Having an MBA from London Business School is a big deal to basically open doors and be able to participate in different types of companies. We invest in very early stage startups, so sort of two people in a garage trying to change the world. And certainly I think that an MBA either can be one of the creators of that idea or can join one of those companies.
Well, I am one of the panelists today in the conference, and we're talking about the future of studios and the future of film content. And of course, that's right at the heart of Love Film. We originally built over the last few years a business model that was based on the DVD. However, over the last couple of years or so, we began to migrate that into digital format, into downloading, into helping people go to the cinema and other types of ways of watching and finding out about film. So it's important to us we're at the, I suppose, cutting edge of what is happening and what the evolutions are taking place, which is why a summit like this we think is quite important. Over the last few years, Love Film has sort of began to develop a relationship with London Business School. This year, for the first time, we had an intern actually in the offices as well, who was sort of between years in his MBA, and did a great job for us. And we really do see that there's great talent and great people who come to the London Business School. So for us, taking part in the Media Summit was sort of the next extension of that, maybe sharing some experiences, but also the opportunity to meet and network with some really great businesses and some great people that I think will be useful for us as a business. I think this is great for the London Business School to hold this type of event. Not only does it set itself apart from other business schools where you can demonstrate the pull of getting industry leaders and industry chief executives around a table to talk about real issues. But I think it's just fascinating for the students to have access to people at a very senior level in the media world, and to be able to talk to them, address questions, and be able to find out what's really going on. Because part of the challenge is obviously learning, but also part of the challenge is what comes next. And I think well-informed people who know what's happening next are going to be much more attractive out there in the marketplace. I think that future media leaders need to have a really good understanding across so many different more sectors than they used to before. If you think about the convergence of TV with mobile, with online, with the PC, with other devices that are taking place, it's not just good enough now to know about one part of the industry. You've got to know about everything that's going on to put it together. I think one of the biggest single threats in the industry at the moment is the same, probably affecting most industries, which what is going to be the impact of a slowdown in expenditure? Whether that expenditure be in home entertainment or whether it be on cars, I think is going to be an impact. Historically, the entertainment business has done well in a recessionary environment because people stay at home and they watch more DVDs and they watch more films. But I think there are still going to be winners and losers. Those people that can provide choice, the people that can provide the right value and ease of use, I think are going to do well. What separates to me a good person from an average person is, do they have a real passion and drive to do well in their particular sector or area they're in? And media, probably amongst all areas, is one that requires a passion and drive bigger than anything else. It's also got a lot of egos in it and a lot of big companies in it, right? So you've really got to be good at what you do in that environment. So getting that passion for media, getting that exposure to lots of different companies early on, and getting that exposure to some of the trends and convergence and all those things that are going on is, I think, going to be really critical for the MBA students. And if you decide that media is the place for you, and let me tell you, it's a fantastic industry in which to work in, then just focus on it, go for it, because you can really make a difference.
Well, in my speech, I tried to capture the challenge that broadcasters like the BBC, ITV and Channel 4 face, which is partly about the challenge to retain audiences, but also the challenge of figuring out the best way of getting a business model of monetization to ensure that we can go on investing in really high quality content. I think the media leaders of the future will need quite a few new skills. I think they'll really need to know about technology, and I think they'll also need to be adept at getting creative technologists and creative content people together to work together to create the products and services of the future. The single biggest threat is around fragmentation and therefore a loss of audience. But the great opportunity, I think, is that the public's hunger for really outstanding content, and also often for a shared experience of coming together to enjoy and be inspired by a piece of content, is as great as ever. I think this is potentially a very exciting time for MBA students who are thinking about entering media. We need new business models. We need entrepreneurship. We need help in radical transformation of our organisation. So potentially this could be a very exciting, in some ways a higher risk, but a very, very exciting place to have a career.
If you would like to find out more about the Media Club or any of our other student clubs, you can visit the Student Association website. Thank you very much for watching, and do join us again next time for another episode of MBA TV.